What is up, everybody? This is JP, your online personal trainer, and today I'm coming at you with personal training vlog number 4. Again, this vlog series is for personal trainers, health coaches, group fitness instructors, anything that's in kind of like in the fitness or health industry. I mean, if you really want, this can help people that are maybe in the medical field too, depending if you ever plan to do personal training or anything like that. But these videos cover for beginner, intermediate, and advanced. This particular video though is for beginner and intermediate personal trainers. So if you are an advanced person, you've been doing this for 10 years, you maybe have a couple certifications, or you've gone to school for a long time, then these might be a little bit easy for you. But I'll try to go in depth, so even if you are advanced, this video will help you. This video is going to be 4 ways that you can increase your knowledge as a personal trainer. Again, knowledge is power. If you want to be a good personal trainer or good in any industry, you have to know about it. And in the personal training industry, because the skill ceiling is so low, again, some certifications just take a weekend or a week or a month to get. Some take closer to half a year to a year, which are a little bit better. And then some people actually take the long road and just go to school. But because the skill ceiling is so low, and to become a personal trainer, but to be a great one, the skill ceiling is extremely high. It's good to know your stuff. Okay, starting with tip number 1, and it's pretty self-explanatory. It's reading books. Like, this book is a Fundamentals of Biomechanics. Reading things about the body, the body systems, things about biomechanics, things about bioenergetics, things like that. It's gonna help you become a better personal trainer. The first, and especially if it's a good book, if it's a book like I said, this one, Biomechanics, that's going to apply to anything you do in the fitness industry, basically, and you like the book, I would recommend reading books that you like that are going to apply to the fitness industry a lot. Read them 3 or 4 times. And the first time to read them, have maybe a separate notebook, like maybe like a spiral notebook that you can take notes of the entire book. You don't have to write down the entire book, obviously, but take really in-depth notes. So that's a good tip right there, is take notes on a book, and then after you take notes on whatever book it is, read it. Maybe you don't have to immediately read it again, but wait half a year and then read it again, or a year or 2, then read it again. Your goal is to read it 3 or 4 times, maybe 5, 6, 7 times if you really, really want to. Again, as you may know, I read somewhere that it takes up for you to see something up to 10 times for you to really, really, really remember it, depending on what it is, especially if it's reading. If you're trying to remember one thing, you can do it, but if it's a big book and there's a ton of information, there's going to be so many things that you're going to forget, so reading it one time really isn't sufficient. So with books, take notes, read them more than once, but read all types of books. I have a book here about neuroanatomy. I have another one, Introduction to Exercise Science. That was for school, but again, when I go to school, if it's a book related to fitness, I buy my books. Maybe that could be a tip right there too. If you're going to school, if you go on Amazon and you buy it used, it's going to be cheaper. It's usually cheaper than renting it from your school. For me, I remember one of my books was like $80 to rent it from the school. I found it on Amazon for $50 to buy used. So that's what I would do. If you have the money, obviously if you're borrowing a book from somebody, that's different. But buy your books if you can, keep them, take notes on them, read them more than once. Again, because you want to be able to retain information. Anywhere that you can read something, I would recommend doing that. That's the most obvious way to learn knowledge, is just read books. Like I said, it could be a book about bioenergetics. Those school textbooks, like the anatomy and physiology books? I have one right now. I think it's 1,200 pages. And the school books are super in-depth. I'm taking notes on the entire book, and I've been doing it for a good while, and I'm only on chapter 3. So, I mean, there's times where I'm not doing it, but again, that should be your always go-to when you're not doing anything else. Yeah, so that's what I would do with books. Tip number 2, what I would recommend is, obviously, I said this in another video, is work with people. That's really obvious. Obviously, work with people, but if you can do it before you get paid, do it for free. Do it for free for a little bit. Again, if you're not in a situation where you can't do it for free, you're like I said, you have to pay bills and there's no other way you're getting money, then I would recommend obviously doing it for money. But when I mean work with people, learn the little nuances that make people when you work out with them. For example, one that I've learned is, and this was because I was working with someone for free, is most people that I come across with who don't really work out, if you try to teach them any type of hip hinge exercise, like not a squat, but like, I know squat has hip hinge in it too, but like a deadlift, any form of a deadlift. It could be a deadlift, a single arm deadlift. It could just be a Romanian deadlift, a stiff leg deadlift. They're just not good at doing deadlifts. I don't know why. Not everyone. I've heard some people like, wow, you have a really good looking deadlift from the start. But most people, they just feel awkward. They don't get that a deadlift, like for example, if you're pulling all from your back on a deadlift, that's not good. They don't necessarily get what it means to hinge at the hips and hinge at the knees. They don't know what it gets to. They don't understand how to activate your glutes and activate your hamstrings, which should be the prime movers of the lift, to lift the weight. And they just look extremely uncomfortable and awkward. I learned that from working with people. So when I come across people that I train later on in the future, maybe I can explain that to them. Let them know that this is a difficult exercise, and if you don't get it the first try, it's okay, because it's a little bit difficult. If you're just, if, in my opinion, if you've never come across someone who doesn't get a deadlift, then you're obviously teaching it to them wrong, because it's not an easy movement. If you really, really get technical with it. I don't throw a ton of information at them at the beginning, but even giving them simple stuff, sometimes they struggle. But again, I've had a few people who understand how to do a deadlift with no problem. But again, that's what I'm saying. Work with people free if you can, for a little bit. Eventually, even if you start free, you want to go to being paid. But to get experience, work for free. If you can't, because of some situation you're in, that's fine. But whatever you do, just understand how people are different. Understand the little nuances. See what exercises are more difficult. Maybe you have people have just constant pain in the same thing. Like for example, low back is extremely common. They could have the best form. They could have no prior injuries, but people tend to have low back pain. You may need to just understand how people are. There are especially obviously you're going to be in the same location. There are some personal trainers who jump from location to location to location. But even then, you're probably going to be in the general same area. Like for example, someone who's working in the United States is probably going to stay in the United States. And the United States as a whole, most people do a lot of the same things. We all go on the computer. Most of us go on the computer, which is going to cause a little bit of forward rounding of the shoulders, a little bit forward rounding of the thoracic spine, which again, that's a common imbalance based off of where we are at on this planet. Maybe in a different location of the planet, or it's not as developed and they don't have computers all the time, they don't have that problem. But over in the United States, they do. So that's something as a personal trainer, you need to understand that's going to be common, and you need to understand that by working with people. So take notes on that stuff, just learn a lot about people. The third step is, the third tip I'm going to give you is, obviously you need to work out too as a personal trainer, but don't just work out. What I would recommend is maybe have a day or two, a month, or a week, or whatever, depending on how complex the exercise is. Pick some type of exercise and just do it, even if it's not what you like to do. For example, let's just say you're a personal trainer and you like teaching people, but let's just say you're not a strongman. You've never done strongman competitions ever, and you never plan to. That still doesn't mean that you shouldn't read up on that stuff, and you shouldn't maybe practice some of those stuff a little bit. Because even if you read up on it but you never do it, what if you have a client that says, I'm training for strongmen and I want to do that? I don't care how much you've read on it. If you haven't done it, again, you won't get those little nuances of it, and you won't have the experience to sit there and tell them about it. That's like reading about driving a NASCAR or reading about doing a power clean, but you've never attempted a power clean in your life. That's another exercise too. If you don't plan to do Olympic lifting, but you obviously plan to train people, you may come across a client who wants to do a power clean, even if they're not doing it to go to a competition. What if they say, power cleans look cool. I like the idea of how it's a very powerful move, and I want to work on that. If it keeps them happy and it keeps them wanting to come back, you need to learn how to do it. So again, I'm not saying spend years on one thing, but I mean, it's good to maybe find someone who's good at an exercise, power cleans, strongman, maybe bodybuilding type stuff, or maybe you need to work on a sprint technique for yourself. Do like maybe some workshops or little boot camps that someone can help teach you these things. Maybe take a weekend and learn it, and then over time try to keep getting better and better and better at that. So even though you might not be kind of like a master of one thing, in a weird way, you're gonna kind of be like a jack of all trades. And even though you are a jack of all trades, don't let that mean that you're gonna suck at everything. If you put in a lot of time to the major components of fitness, I mean, a lot of those things intertwine, So, if you understand how to deadlift properly, it's gonna, even though it's not the same thing, it may carry a little bit over into maybe picking up an Atlas stone for strongman. So that's something that I would recommend completely, is pick exercises that are complicated and learn them and do them yourself. Read up on them, do them yourself so that you can teach someone in the future. Definitely don't underestimate that. And the fourth tip I would recommend is, and it kind of relates to the tip that I just talked about, is learning from other people. You know, and it might not just be specific exercises like the last tip. Well, what I recommend is just going on YouTube, finding good. Now, I mean, obviously, if you're a fitness instructor, use your judgment. If it's some roided up weightlifter who has no idea what the hell he's talking about, then don't listen to him. But if it's a very smart individual online, take what they say. And let's just say it's someone who is not roided up. You know, they're trying to make an attempt, but you still disagree with them. That's still going to help you learn more, because if they're saying something and you can kind of mentally debate them and kind of in your head show that, okay, that doesn't make any sense, I'm not going to do that. That can kind of give you something that you won't do in the future. So you can learn some, basically from this is you can learn something from everybody. So again, along with the other tips, you need to sit there and learn from other people. Learn from other trainers, good ones, bad ones. Again, take exercises from people. I'm not saying rob someone's program, but I mean, if you see a good exercise on YouTube, you know, take that and add it to your arsenal. There's no reason why you cannot add that to your arsenal. I don't know the quote. Someone watching this is probably going to know this, but I'm pretty sure Einstein had a quote about knowledge saying that, you know, I forget how it went, but basically it said that if someone has knowledge that you don't, why would you not take that knowledge? You know, it's good to take that knowledge. So if you see an exercise, a tip, a good cue as a personal trainer, you see someone give a good cue, which I learned a lot of them, take them. And when you think about it, that's how everyone is. You, as an individual, your personality, what you know, how you teach, is you are just kind of like a big group of everyone that you've learned from. You're a little piece of everyone that's ever taught you. You're a little piece of every book that you read. That makes you, combined with your own unique personality, is what makes you in your entirety. So again, learn from other people. Go on YouTube, watch videos. Maybe find someone that has a lot more experience that you actually think is very smart. Not someone, because you may come across people that have experience, but they don't know fucking jack shit. But you can, you know, if you find them and you think, okay, wow, this guy's extremely smart, he's making sense, you know, ask questions, you know, and again, just because you may learn 100 things from them, but there may be one thing that you disagree with. Don't be afraid to disagree with them either, but again, you can still learn a lot. So find people in person, work with them, find someone to lead you a little bit, then eventually in the future, you're going to be able to lead someone else. Like I said, watch videos on YouTube, just learn from people in general. Okay, quick recap. You need to read books. You need to learn from other people when you teach them, learn from just training people in general, learn a little nuances about them and carry those over to other people. Do exercises yourself. You need to do them yourself. And again, if you're a personal trainer who doesn't exercise at all, just fucking get out of the industry. You're garbage. But I mean, everyone should be working out. And then the fourth one is learn from people personally or in videos. Watch a lot of videos, see what they say. Almost follow kind of like a teacher, be a little bit of a follower in that sense. But if you like these videos, please like, share, and subscribe. Again, if you have a friend or someone that's a personal trainer, get them to watch this video. There's a lot of good information here. If you have any other ideas for videos, put them down in the comments, and when I get time, I'll make them. There are a few videos from people that have already gave me ideas to make videos of. I'm probably going to make them later on this week, but again, I made this one in between because this video is for personal trainers. So, but until next time, peace.